welcome back to Movie Review Mom. And if this is the very first time you've discovered my YouTube channel, yay, you found me. I'm so glad. My goal is to give you the heads up on filmmaking quality and content so that you can make the best decision for you and your family as to whether or not you want to spend time or money or both watching a particular film. So the particular film I'm reviewing today is called Terror on the Prairie. This brutal Western is now available exclusively on the Daily Wire. It is rated R and is an hour and 47 minutes. I'm going to give you my movie review grade now, and I want you to keep watching so you understand why I'm giving it the grade that I am. My movie review mom grade is... So in a nutshell, when Gina Carano was kicked off of the set of the Star Wars Mandalorian TV show and blacklisted in Hollywood for tweeting a political comment that Disney declared was abhorrent, the crew from the Daily Wire jumped into action and secured a movie script for her within days. A lot of liberal film critics have refused to even watch or review this movie simply because it's co-produced by Gina Carano and distributed by the conservative news site, The Daily Wire. While I think films should be reviewed on their own merit and not be used as political ammunition, I have to explain that I just didn't understand this movie at all, especially based on what I know about the Daily Wire. Fans of the Daily Wire are generally conservative, right? So why would the Daily Wire think that their audience would enjoy a bloodbath of a film like this one? It's extremely violent, gory, foul-mouthed, and just not good. One of the characters is a vicious murderer who quotes scriptures as if that's isn't an offensive trope to Christians, right? The very people who truly want to support the Daily Wire. It's as if the Daily Wire doesn't truly understand its audience at all. The Daily Wire claims that it wants to make non-political movies like Hollywood pumps out with a liberal slant and pushing their woke agenda. Yet all of the movies, except for one by the Daily Wire, have been very violent. Two of them extremely bloody and gory. I just don't get it. This just didn't make sense to me for a movie that they would want to produce. I wanted to like this movie to back the Daily Wire's support of an actress who was unfairly treated and canceled by Disney for exercising her right of free speech, but I just didn't enjoy this movie at all. And in fact, I turned it off and I was just like, I don't enjoy this and watching this kind of content at all. And then I thought, okay, for you, I turned it back on because I thought maybe it turns around, maybe something great happens at the end and I'm going to go, oh, it was all worth it. I wanted to be able to give you an honest review after having seen the entire movie. And so I slogged through the rest of it. The film was directed by Michael Polish and written by Josiah Nelson. It's about a frontier woman on the Montana plains who must protect herself against a ruthless gang of outlaws bent on revenge. Okay, so now let me give you the list of things I liked and then didn't like, as well as tips for parents. Don't let your kids see this. Themes worth talking about, interesting lines, funny lines if there are any, and then recommendations for other films that I think are better if you like Westerns. Okay, so let's dive into that. The things that I liked. So those who enjoy hard-hitting, realistic Westerns with plenty of shoot 'em up scenes and simple stories might like this one. No animals were actually harmed in the making of this movie. There's a Daisy, the cow, who I am told is alive and well. The cinematography itself is very good, and the homestead looks very realistic. I mean, it's out in the middle of nowhere. It looks like the crew built this frontier homestead out in the middle of nowhere. And I liked that a lot. It doesn't look like a green screen at all. Now, I'll laugh if I find out that it really was, because it looked good. The young boy, played by Reese Becker, did a great acting job and appears to be a natural. He has the talent to do well if he wants a career in the film industry. The lack of a strong musical score actually gave the movie a raw feeling. It doesn't feel like this Hollywood production in that sense. It feels very simple and raw. You can almost hear, the tumbleweeds blowing and that kind of thing. Now, the list of things I didn't like is much longer. First of all, there are a lot of bad acting moments in this movie. I was surprised and completely disappointed. So many moments were underacted while others were overacted. And I just thought it was really strange. There were two standout actors. One is the head honcho of the bad guys, and the other one was the young boy. And the other actors felt very paper thin. There are so many Western tropes and stereotypes. The villains just acted like caricatures, like from a cartoon. And how could bad guys in the West miss so many shots? That wasn't realistic at all. Like everybody's shooting, and nobody's dying, I mean, no spoilers. People do die in this movie, I'm just saying. And then there's this one little rattlesnake that we see in the dead of winter. And I've heard that they're not really active in cold weather. So that wasn't realistic. Certainly something to, throw into the movie towards the beginning to teach us a little bit about the characters. And I get that. That's fine. My husband and I rolled our eyes countless times due to the many dumb decisions made by characters. Now, I expect that in horror movies, where you're like, no, don't go into the basement. And then they go into the basement without a flashlight or, and you're just like, ah. And I felt like that in this movie too. There's also shaky cam, and I hate shaky cam. And then there's one moment that just made me laugh out loud. Now, this is not a comedy. This is supposed to be a real Western drama. But there's this prostitute with, fake breast implants. And I didn't know that they had those in the 1800s. It's just ridiculous. That part just looked like Hollywood. Like, find a realistic looking prostitute. I don't know. It just bugged me. All right, let me give you some tips for parents. This is not an appropriate movie for kids due to the immense blood, gore, violence, and tough language. There's an attempted rape. There's a prostitute, as I mentioned, who tries to get a customer. There are weapons of various kinds, and you see lots of blood and gore and all that kind of stuff. Some of the themes that are illustrated well are grit, definitely, family, revenge, sins of the past, self-reliance is a big one as well. All right, so before we go, let me give you some recommendations for some other Westerns that I think are better. One good classic one is called Unforgiven. So if you haven't seen that one, check that out. There's a lot of personal drama. One thing about this movie is there are not a whole lot of conversations, whereas in Unforgiven, relationships and the conversations about them is pivotal. Another gritty sort of Western, it's more of the prospector time, but one that seemed very realistic to me is The Revenant, which of course won an Academy Award for Leonardo DiCaprio. And then the last one I thought of is called Tombstone. And again, characters and storyline and well done, great cinematography, that kind of thing. All right. So for me, it was a hard pass, and I'm so disappointed for the Daily Wire. I'm hoping that their next one is better. I really want them to do well, and I'm always happy to watch indie companies get into the filmmaking business to provide more choices of things for us to watch. And so I think that that's great. All right, that is it. Comment down below. I would love to know if you've watched this and what you think of the film. Thank you so much for all of your support and for spending a few minutes with me. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.